And the Wildcats in business. A pump fake over the middle, and it's intercepted.
First down marker.
So 4th down and 1, and they're going to go for it. And they give it to Westcott. He's up the middle. Enough for the first down. Is he in there? Yeah. 3rd down and 4 for the Hatters. DiFilippo going to throw. Swings it out. Westcott, plenty of room. And makes a beeline for the corner. Touchdown, Stetson. Blackman in the backfield. DiFilippo going to keep it. And slide into the end zone with ease.
15 yards on the first down.
DiFilippo over the middle. He's got his man. Touchdown, Hatters.
That's Justin Jordan, the junior.
And 19. Wildcats operating out of a hole, and that one is intercepted.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a real good time for him to build up his confidence and right in the end zone again.
And Leary, the freshman, in there for the score. His
trying throwing up the middle with the H-back leading.
And they do throw it, and it's intercepted.
Some pre-snap penalties, not giving your quarterbacks enough time to throw, and you almost give up a sack there.
Picarelli taking off with it down the sidelines. Inside the 20. All the way to the end zone for a touchdown. Minutes here to play in the 3rd quarter. Westcott's got it. Weaving his way into the end zone for the touchdown. Hand off to Leary.
No, Picarelli keeps it.
Picarelli, he keeps it this time. Everybody's getting faked out. And Picarelli is in there for the touchdown.
Overall, really pleased and really pleased that we got experience for game experience for our offensive line and some of the other kids who will be factors on this team, as the year goes on. We got a lot of freshmen played in the defensive secondary, and a lot of kids on special teams as well. And so I think it was a great learning experience for us, and the lucky thing was we were able to come out with a win. You look at his pass completion percentage, and it was about 53% or something like that. We'd like it higher. He's got to become more accurate. I think as he gets more and more comfortable with the receivers he's working with, hopefully that chemistry grows and that number goes up as well. He checked there was a coverage change, and he changed the route of the receiver. And the coverage was a disguise, and so just before the snap, they went back, and he changed the route back. Well, the receiver didn't see the second signal, and therefore he throws an incompletion simply because of lack of communication. And I think as they get more comfortable with each other, hopefully that won't happen. We always knew he had it in him, and he ripped off back-to-back runs of 28, 29 yards, and it was great to see because no one works harder than that kid. And so it was great to see him have that, but the most important thing was his pass protection has really improved. And so, for the most part, we were sacked one time, but that really was a coverage sack, not so much the offensive line sack. And so I thought we held up pretty good. Linebacker, I was really pleased with our defensive line play as well because we were getting pressure on the quarterback without having to bring 7, 8 guys to do that. And I thought our secondary played really well. And really, we probably left about 3 interceptions on the field that we probably should have had we been able to catch the ball. But I thought the other thing that he really did a good job is running to the football. I mean, there were 8, 9 guys around the ball in every frame once the play was over. And if we continue to play with that kind of intensity, good things are going to happen. Well, yeah, and it's bad because you first thing you look at a punter is his average. And so that really hurts his average. I think he would average 44 a kick without what we call pooch kicks inside the 10, but he did a great job of placing the ball, and his operation time was really good as well. So, but you'd expect that out of a guy with his experience, and so he didn't fail to deliver. And generally what we've done is turn the ball over, given them a short field, or they had an interception return for a touchdown last year. So we've made it a little easier for them. And so the number one thing we have to do is not turn the ball over. Number two, we've got to adjust to their intensity. I think this is our home opener, so everything will be ratcheted up. And then lastly, it's a noon game, and while that shouldn't affect us much, you're a little bit out of sync because you're used to playing at night or you're used to practicing early in the morning, and so there's this little variation there as well. But And the field turf surface shouldn't make any difference because it's very much the same as grass. So we just got to go up there and focus and concentrate for 4 full quarters, and that's what we haven't done up there in the past. They're still big and physical. They don't have that really good receiver from last year, but they have 2 very good receivers. Their quarterback is different this year, not quite as mobile as they have been in the past. And I think defensively, they were a little more basic than what I've seen. They've been much like our defense, a heavy bring linebackers and things. We've run a very similar scheme to ours. And so I don't know if that's because they didn't want to show us anything or that they were just being a little bit careful because it was the first game. They have a lot of returners, like I think 7, on defense. And so you would think that they wouldn't be afraid to put the whole playbook in, but we're preparing for everything and we'll see what happens. There's a little bit, it's a conference game, so there's a little bit more pep in the step. Practice today was very spirited. Even a couple, 3 or 4 fights, which is, people, you don't like them fighting, but at the same standpoint, you want to be competitive. And it was very competitive this morning. We made it that way as coaches, and certainly the energy and the intensity that we needed to practice at a game level speed came out from that. We don't yell at our kids, we coach with volume. And he's very passionate about what he does. And more importantly, he's trying to make it harder on them now so that the game is easier. And he really wants, in an offensive line play, you have 7 people in very close proximity to the ball. And their side of the ball gets to move a lot before the snap, we don't. And so you've got to sort things out very quickly, react very quickly, and more importantly, if you get beaten, you got to let that go and go on to the next play. And so I think that's what Coach Clayton's trying to create in practice, is a situation where they're making mistakes. How are they going to react when the crowd's reacting and everyone's going off on them, so to speak, for making a mistake? They've got to be able to recover and go right back out there and play with that same kind of intensity. I think our offensive coaches do a great job of making sure our schemes are within the skill range of what our kids are. And while they're challenging them to get better, when we finally hone down the game plan for what we're going to use on Saturday, those kids are very well drilled into that, and they understand what to expect. They've experienced the hardest situations that we can put them in practice, and so hopefully by game time they're very comfortable with whatever happens. I think we're trying to give him almost equal reps with Gav in practice. We're trying to make sure we're still understanding the skill level and what he's comfortable with. I think a lot of times guys see a 5-star, they come in and they try to throw the whole book at them knowing they have those skills. I think one of the things our staff and Scott Selleck, our quarterback coach, does a great job is understanding what they're comfortable with. And that brings to, another point up. The communication between the players and coaches is really good. And so we trust our players to tell us, hey, I don't like this pass, or I don't feel comfortable with this, so then we'll try to either make a modification so they do feel comfortable, or we'll take the get out of the game plan. And I think sometimes as coaches, your ego gets in a way that you want to show everybody what a great schemer you are, when in actuality, you're not the one running the play. Those people on the field are. And if they're not comfortable with it, you're setting yourself up for failure. Well, when you're on the road, you got to hang on the football. You've got to be able to win the turnover battle. That's number one. And when I talk about turnovers, I'm talking about block punts. I'm talking about 3 and outs. All those things really, in my opinion, count as a turnover. I was doing a little study on the internet, and I was looking at other things in hidden yardage, because we're trying to make a very big emphasis on how the special teams can create a big deal. And I went back and looked in the year 2013, that if you look at the average field position start, if you are 3 to 6 yards on average better than your opponent, you have a 57% chance to win the game, and you on average score about 10 more points than they do. And if that number jumps up to 10, you have a 78% chance to win the game, and you on the average score 19.9 points more than your opponent. So the whole point is this: when you're going on the road, you can't lose that hidden yardage. When it's 3rd down and you can't get the first, still get the check down completion, make 5 or 6 yards, punt the ball. When you are blocking on the extra points, when you're blocking on any turnovers, when you're blocking on punt or punt returns, you want to make sure you don't get a stupid penalty, because those 15 yards now adds 1 average yard to all the 15 possessions you usually get in a game. So all those little things that you need to do fundamentally really play big with a visiting team on the road. And if you can take care of those things, in addition to the turnovers, and then obviously you want to create more explosive plays in your opponent, if you can do those things, your chances to win are pretty good.